Hi everyone, welcome to our Facebook Live today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alyssa and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Katoomba. And today I am so pleased to have Kirsten McHarg with me, who is a salon marketing strategist from Savvy Salon Marketing. Hey Kirsten.
Hi Alyssa, how are you?
Yeah, good. What about you?
Yeah, not bad. Good, thanks.
That's good. I'm so excited to have you here today because this is actually going to be the first in a series that we're going to be running this year, which every month we're going to do a Facebook Live that's specifically focused on digital marketing. And we want to do this because we know that this is such an important part of our industry as businesses, and we really want to be able to help you guys out. And so that's why I'm glad we've got Kirsten here, because she's obviously a specialist. And so she's actually going to talk to us today about social media content tips. So that's kind of the first off the rank, but make sure you do watch out every month because we're going to have different topics kind of within the digital marketing realm, and I'm sure that you guys are going to get some great tips along the way. We've got a lovely hello from David, so hi to you, David. It's nice to have you joining us. Yeah, so that's what today's all about. But first I thought, Kirsten, it would be awesome if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and about Savvy Salon Marketing.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I am a beauty therapist by trade, and I trained over 30 years ago, so that kind of makes me feel a bit old. And yeah, so then I opened a salon and had that for 11 years down in Cambridge in the Waikato. And that went really, really well. And of course, that was back in the time when there was no internet, Facebook, social media, anything. So I had to rely on word of mouth and all the traditional strategies. So for all intents and purposes, that business went really well. And I got to a point where I decided what next. And so what I did do next was actually sell it. And I went to university and got a business degree. And I did that because I wanted to do something different, but also because I never really felt I was doing the best I could in my salon. It was always a bit trial and error. So I did that. I stayed in higher education and sort of ran their marketing and did that in 5 universities around the world. But at the same time, I decided, I am a beauty therapist. I love beauty. I know what it's like to be a salon owner, whether it's hair, beauty, really, really good at your craft, but perhaps not so good at the marketing. So I married my 2 passions together, and Savvy Salon was born. And then just to make sure that I know what I'm doing, because my business was in the traditional sense, I opened a salon in Papamoa, had that for 2 years, and I used digital and social media marketing strategies to build that. And then I did it again up north in Orewa. So these days we are a digital marketing agency, but we also have online training programs. We train people one-to-one online or face-to-face with groups, so that you can actually do your marketing yourself if you don't want someone to do it for you, because some people want to learn and do, some people don't. And we're also a business coaching company as well. But essentially, we're here to help beauty professionals prosper in business.
That is such an awesome story, Kirsten. I absolutely love it. And I'm sure everyone watching is like, yay, someone from the industry that kind of knows everything that they've gone through. And then you come through with these expertise and you can help them out. So yeah, perfect person to be talking to today for sure.
Thank you. Thanks.
And also, I should quickly mention to everyone watching, if you guys do have any questions at all during the time that we're here chatting, please do pop them in the comments below, and I'll ask Kirsten as we go along. I'm sure she'll be able to give you guys some amazing advice.
Yep, all good.
So first off, obviously, this is our first digital marketing session for the year. So I thought I'd just quickly ask you why you think it is so important that hair and beauty businesses implement a digital marketing strategy in their business and have a real focus on it.
Well, these days, everybody goes to Google. So if someone says, right, I need to go and get my hair done, and they're looking for someone new, I want to go and have a waxing treatment, where do I go? They go to Google, they put it in the search, and hopefully your salon comes up. And if you are on Google for Business, and if you are using AdWords, then hopefully you'll be close to the top of the page and you attract their attention. And essentially, I look at it from a consumer behavior perspective. Someone goes looking for someone in the area, they might pick their top 3 and they'll start to investigate, and they'll go, right, let's go and look at their website, let's go and look at their Facebook page, let's go and look at their Instagram, and maybe read blogs if they've got it. And they start to build up a picture of you and your competition and everybody else. Then they'll actually narrow that. So that's called their consideration phase. And what we want to do as salon owners is get into their consideration set. So they're kind of interested in us, and they've affirmed or discovered some credibility about you, because hopefully you're doing your Facebook and Instagram and digital marketing really well. And so once they do that, they may then sort of say, okay, I'm really interested in salon A, and they just go and do a bit more research. What treatments, what products, what sort of feeling do I get, meet the team, that sort of thing. So if you're not having a good online presence, you're basically saying goodbye to business and sending people up the road to your competition. So it's where you have to be. It is relatively inexpensive, it is measurable, and it's largely doable. So it's an easy way to market your business.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. And so obviously today we're focusing on social media content tips. So my first question is, what makes a great social media post?
So there's sort of 4 or 5 components to a social post, and essentially it takes a bit of planning, a bit of time. And if you go through a bit of a process each time, you get faster at it. And so what's the objective of your post? Are you trying to inform people of something? Are you trying to educate them? Are you trying to inspire them? So you kind of need to work out which one that's going to be. Then you need to work out, who am I targeting with that? Is it everybody in my fan base? Is it just women who are in their 50s with mature skin looking for a particular treatment? So you actually need to understand that. And then that tells you what sort of content you're actually going to put together. So what you need then is some really good ad copy. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to go on and on and on. It can be really short, to the point, and a really nice image that supports that, and then maybe some artwork with that image. And a lot of people can do their own artwork through Canva or something like that. So that's kind of the building of it, the planning and the building. But then you actually want to understand, what do I want people to think, feel, and do as a result of this post? And essentially we want them to do something. We want them to go onto Messenger, pick up the phone, call in the salon. What is it that we want them to do? Or it may be none of those things. We may just want them to feel good. So essentially a good post provides value based on that objective that you set. And it's not just pitching all the time. It's not buy this, buy this, buy this. Doesn't mean you can't do that, but you need kind of like an 80-20 mix of, here are some great skincare tips. Here's a product that may be of use to you, but here's an inspirational quote.
Yeah. So a really nice mix of different content, so you're not always slamming your audience with your sales.
That's right. And also I think it's really important, especially with Instagram, to have a theme coming through. So a lot of places, a lot of salons will have their brand image or their brand colours. Some don't, but it's a good idea to have a theme. So when people are on your Instagram, and if they're looking at all the grid, they just get a sense. It's like when you go to a website and you get a sense of the salon, and it makes you feel good or it doesn't. It's the same with Instagram. Sometimes you'll go to an Instagram account and it's just hair shot after hair shot after hair shot after hair shot. The same with nails. Nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to mix it up a wee bit and just have some overall theme coming through.
Yeah, definitely. And on that same kind of like topic of brand, when someone's actually writing a post, I mean, obviously that also needs to be on brand, so kind of your voice. What's your advice kind of around that? Because it can be quite hard to kind of nut out what your voice should be, you know?
Yes, and it really comes down to your salon and your offering and your personality, because, I mean, as therapists and hairdressers, we are the business. And so, you know, chatty and conversational is always good on social media. People don't really expect formal. If you're at sort of a high ticket, high end, you may want to formalize or use different language, but you definitely don't want to be using slang either. But emoticons are good as well. So I always go with the nice chatty style, and I just talk from the heart. And if you talk from the personality, I think you can't go wrong. And that becomes the essence of your brand speak.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Yeah, what's the personalities within your team, and how do you chat to each other and to your clients and try and kind of emulate that, I guess?
That's right. And also, if you have staff doing the post, and a lot of salon owners are getting their staff to do it, sometimes you may need to say to them, hey, these are the boundaries of how we speak to our clients. Or it could be, bring your personality through because it's you doing that post. So I think it's just having a few boundaries, but being natural, not being too overcomplicated, and keeping things short is good because people have a short attention span. So, the words do one part, the image does the rest. And then the call to action down the bottom is really where the heavy lifting needs to take place.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of imagery as well, what's your recommendation there? I mean, obviously in our industry, there's so much opportunity compared to kind of other industries and other businesses. But I mean, I guess you can't like you said, you don't always want to show here. So what's your recommendation for kind of making sure that it's on brand and you're showing different things and
Again, it's some salons I find are quite clinical, and that's fine because they offer advanced skin therapy, for example, so they will have imagery that supports that. You may have a fun and funky hair salon, so you'll have imagery that supports that. So that goes to the brand. But it's, again, and I think we might get into this, is when you're looking at the content that you're going to post over time, it's mixing it up. Nothing wrong with having before and after shots, but it's mixing it up a wee bit, and also keeping in mind that Facebook is quite strict about the images that you put up. And and I find this particularly in the hair and beauty industry, you may want to show a woman showing her décolleté or something like that, or lying down on the plinth and having her legs waxed, and sometimes Facebook can frown on that because it's seen as overexposing and that type of thing, whereas actually it's just a beautiful image of a person having a treatment. So you do have to be careful there. It feels like there's more leeway in Instagram, even though Instagram is owned by Facebook. So that's one thing that you have to be very mindful of, is the imagery and the content that you write for your posts can't claim things. And I've been caught out. You might say, this treatment will brighten your skin, and we know that it will, but Facebook frowns upon that. So I'm just finding at the moment, you've got to be very, very careful, very mindful of the images and the copy that you write, and just make sure that you're within their policies and guidelines, because you don't want to be shut down.
No, you don't.
Which is what they do. They do shut you down, and they're doing that at the moment.
Yeah, or disapproving your ads and silly things like that. Once we kind of, when you get into that kind of realm as well, they can be quite strict. That's a really, really good tip.
And unfortunately too, though, even if they approve your ad, it doesn't necessarily mean you won't have violated a policy later on. And I have found that as well. And so it's like, oh, okay, my account has been restricted or disabled. And it does seem to be happening quite a bit at the moment. But then they don't actually offer you a reason why. You're either restricted or you're not. You can appeal it. So I say to everyone, go and read the advertising policies, whether it's just for a post, because most of the time it's inadvertent. You don't know you're doing it. You think you're providing value, and then Facebook has a different opinion.
Fun. It's all fun and games, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Definitely. Cool. And so obviously once you've mastered your social media posts, what is your advice around how to actually, I guess, plan your content and make sure that you're on top of it? Because I know everyone in this industry is so incredibly time poor. So I know any advice would be awesome.
Yep. Everybody is time poor. And of course, marketing is the next worst thing that they have to do, because a lot of people don't like doing it. And what I hear people saying is, I just don't know what to post about. And that's what holds people back. And then a week goes by. So what I say to people is, look, create topics of categories. And so you've always got something to go to. So it could be, you could talk about products, you could talk about skin tips, you can provide motivational quotes, you can just have an inspirational image, treatments, promotions, announcements. So get your library of topics that you could post about. So that's done. So you don't now have to worry about what you're going to post about. And then it's deciding, how many times a week am I going to post? Is it once a week? Is it twice a week? 3? I recommend 1 to 3. I think 2 is great. Often I hear people say, oh, I feel pressured, I've got to post every day. But in actual fact, you don't, because people don't want to see you every day. They might want to see you every couple of days, and in fact, there's no guarantee that they're going to see you anyway. And thanks again to Facebook, because you may have 1,000 followers who love you, but only sort of 10 to 15% of them are ever going to see you. And then it comes down to the fact that if they see a post and engage on it, or click it, like it, share it, Facebook goes, oh, that person likes that salon, I'll serve up more. So there's a little bit of that going on as well. But I recommend, because we are time poor, committing to one or two, doing it really well, and just doing it consistently, and just saying, right, on a Wednesday and a Friday, or just pick 2 days, at 10 o'clock on those days, my posts are going live, and that's it. So then you plan what the topics will be. I say to people every Sunday or once a month, have a look at those 2 posts every week for the next 4 weeks, decide what the content will be, build it, schedule it, and forget about it, and then go back to it in a month's time or whatever. And once you start to get the hang of it, it's like anything. It's just forming a habit, and it becomes easier over time when you realize that there's actually quite a lot that you can talk about. There's photos in the salon, there's little videos you can take in the salon. It doesn't have to be arduous. It can be fun, but it's just discipline and planning and scheduling and being consistent.
Yes. Yeah, and so your advice is don't put pressure on yourself. It's best to post less and consistently than put pressure on yourself for 7 times a week, and then you only ever do it twice or whatever.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And also, what you post on Facebook, you can post on Instagram. Doesn't have to be different. And eventually, I mean, in my business, I still post exactly on Facebook and exactly on Instagram, because I'm time poor. And I mean, I for all intents and purposes, know what I'm doing, and I've got tools at my disposal to schedule things and design things. But I just, until I know if the 2 platforms are different and have different followers, I'm just going to keep the content the same, and it's fresh. Yeah. Sometimes on Instagram I post once a week, and so less is actually fine.
Yeah. And you spoke about scheduling. Do you have any recommendations for tools that you really like to use for that can make it easy for businesses?
Facebook actually has improved in that area. I don't use their scheduling tool, but they've got a whole creator studio now. So that's something that people can investigate, and it's free, and it schedules, and it's good, and you can do videos and all sorts of stuff in there. But there's also other platforms. There's one called Hootsuite that most people have heard of. There's another one that I've discovered and I use called Sendable. And there's others called Sprout Social, and they all have different prices and features. And some of them have a free sort of trial as well. I do think that most salons are totally fine with the scheduling tool inside Facebook. It's when you want to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more advanced, then you might move to a paid version. But yeah.
Can you post to Facebook and Instagram from Facebook?
You can post from Instagram to Facebook, but not Facebook to Instagram. So that's annoying. That is annoying for people, because in the Instagram platform, you're putting in all the hashtags, which means the hashtags go across to Facebook, and it's not normal to put your hashtags into Facebook. But I do it because I think we're becoming more accustomed to seeing hashtags, and sometimes I even put hashtags inside sentences. And the other worst case scenario, if you don't want your hashtags showing in your Facebook post, you just go in there and delete them out. But that's, of course, where the social media scheduling tools come in, because you write the post once, but you configure them for each platform, and then they go out as you want them to. But, it's not a showstopper. It's fine.
Cool. So we've actually just had a question from David who says, Kirsten, we have an extremely engaged audience on Facebook and post 3 times daily. We find if we reduce this number, our engagement drops dramatically. Thoughts? So good question. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Really, really good question. So when I say post less is more, that's for people who are feeling overwhelmed and just starting out. In the digital arena, in the social media arena, it's test, learn, and adjust. You create something, you put it out there, you see how it goes, you learn from it, and you adjust. And if that's working for you and you've got the capacity to do it, then that's great. Absolutely no problem. And if you notice that your engagement is dropping off by not doing it, then that's a good learning. It's a good understanding to have. And it's great, actually, that you've got a really engaged audience. So well done. You must have some really great content.
Yeah, definitely. That's incredible, and I think it's super cool that you've actually seen that, because now you know what what
Yes.
you have to do in order to
Yep. Yep.
achieve. Whereas the hardest part is actually working out initially. You need to kind of have that starting point, because otherwise you just don't know. You're like, oh, do I need to post 20 times a week or twice?
Yeah.
Or so that learning.
Yeah, I mean, there's no right and wrong. It's just being consistent with whatever you're doing. And then, of course, if you go into the Facebook and Instagram insights areas, it tells you what posts got good engagement and what didn't. And that can be actually quite interesting sometimes, when you think you've done this incredible post and then no one really liked it. And you can put something up that's actually quite dull and you think it was a bit boring, and then everyone loves it. So there's no rhyme or reason. And the beauty of digital marketing is that it's market driven. So people will tell you what they love and what they don't love. And it's cheaper than any marketing project. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than wasting your time producing things that you think are working when really they're not. That's what's really cool about digital, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your question, David. That's awesome. So back to planning your social content, was there anything else or any other pieces of advice that you had to share with us?
No, I think that was it. But really, it's good to have a template. And I have a social media content planning template. So if anyone wants it, they can get in touch with you or me, and I will happily share that. But it's really just a spreadsheet, and it's got the days of the week, and you just look at that, plan your content, build it, put it in it. That's if you're not going to use a scheduling tool or anything like that. But in saying that, sometimes, particularly for visual people, it's quite good to see it written down on a piece of paper, so you can actually see, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to do this. You can get an overall snapshot of the month, because if you've got promotions coming up, or that a special event's coming up like Mother's Day or something like that, you can look at it and go, well, actually I need to move that post to that day to make way for that post there. So the key piece of advice is be disciplined, set aside some time, commit to that time, and then just get your content planned, built, scheduled, and then check out how it went.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess if you don't personally have time, is it always a good idea to delegate that to someone in your team that might have an interest or might be good at it? Or
yeah, it is. And obviously younger people live and breathe and that sort of thing. Not suggesting that oldies like me can't, but it's a good team building thing. It just makes them feel involved. And I work with salon owners whose staff just don't have time, don't like it, and don't want to do it because they're so busy anyway. But I have other salons who their staff just thrive on it. They love it, and they do a really, really good job. So yeah, it's great to get the team involved. Good tool.
Cool. And also, I might also ask, what are your thoughts on having, obviously, your brand social media pages, but then also your staff having their own personal social media pages to kind of promote and show their work?
Yeah, I personally don't have a problem with that. I guess it does kind of err into that employment issue of, so I think it just comes down to salon policy, and sort of the comfort level of the owner, because I mean, we are all personal with our clients, even though we are under the brand, and of course we want to showcase our work. I guess there just needs to be a few rules around what you can and can't do without really throttling people's creativity or wanting to showcase their great work. But I find mostly that a lot of people use Instagram to showcase their work, and they just attribute the fact that this is where I work. So it's kind of known, that's all up front. So yeah.
And yeah, it's like what you're saying before as well. If you've got someone in your team who's doing the social media, there's certain kind of brand rules or certain guidelines that you set out. And so it's the same kind of thing. It's if you're working here and you're showing off your work, please share our brand as well. And
And hopefully they have pride in the company and where they're working. So that's what's coming through, and that's what's driving it.
Definitely. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kirsten. That was awesome. You had so many good tips, and we've had lots and lots of comments from people who have really clearly enjoyed the session. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was great, and I look forward to doing our next session in a month's time.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're definitely going to have Kirsten back again. We've got a few different topics in mind. So do keep an eye out on all of our social media channels when we start promoting that and telling you guys what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, so thank you, Kirsten, and thank you to everyone for watching. And we'll see you on our next Facebook Live. See you, everyone.
Bye.